Greetings, pod fans, and welcome back to another terrifying Tale Tuesday. This week, from the three that I mentioned last week, there was one suggestion, and that was to read Dear David. Seems like a very excited response, so I have no idea what this is. But let's give it a read. This is Dear David, again, on creepypasta.com. It was published on September 3rd, 2012, and the estimated reading time is 4 minutes. So let's give it a shot. So my grandfather recently died. Not unexpectedly, might I add. At 81, he had a good run. Anyway, my mum and I had to go to his house and grab anything we wanted to keep before the cleaning crew came in to clear it out. During the process of searching through his bedroom, I came across his box of military stuff, most of which belonged to his father, my great-grandfather, who had died in the Second World War. I had fond memories of this box. My granddad would tell me stories about the photos and letters inside. How much was truth, I can't say, because he wasn't in the war. Nevertheless, it kept me entertained as a young kid. As I begin to look through the box, the memories come flooding back. Every letter and trinket reminding me of his story. Until I came to one letter, postmarked October 1944. It appeared to be another letter from my great-grandfather to a man named David, who I believe may have been his brother, but unlike the other letters describing the war and conditions, this one was different. As I read it, I realized my grandfather had never shown me this letter. I'm still unsure what to make of it. The letter is as follows. Dear David, it's been almost 3 weeks since my two friends, Howard and Johnson, went missing, and I can't keep this to myself any longer. Someone needs to know the details in case something happens to me. Normally, I would just blame the Krauts, as they are the cause of most of my missing soldiers. However, this is different. It started around a month ago, when my men started reporting finding these black, leather-bound diaries while out on patrol. Of course, as we are occupying a town, it's not uncommon finding things like these around. However, these diaries were odd. The diaries contained names of my soldiers scrawled on the inside cover. No other writing, just the name. And then, after a certain date, the pages seemed to have been ripped out. Putting it down to the enemy playing mind games, I ignored the reports, thinking that maybe they were just writing common names in them to unnerve us. I remember hearing from HQ they had used mind games before, like hiding soldiers' helmets and pieces of glass to reflect light in windows and woods to look like snipers. However, what set these diaries apart was that over the next few days, they started to appear around the city. Now I know my lookouts are tired and sometimes half drunk, but surely even they would notice someone getting that close. The thing is, no matter how many of these things we collected, burnt, destroyed, they would appear back the next morning. I don't know who put them there, or with what intention, but they were, and they were having an effect on some of my troops. Many, including my friend Captain Howard, who after finding a diary with his name on it, had claimed to hear whispers when no one was around. Howard was also plagued with dreams, where he was lost in a wasteland, and a voice over his radio would recite the time and date of his death, over and over, until he would wake in a cold sweat. He never told me the date or time, but on the 22nd of August, he went on routine patrol and never returned. His good friend Captain Johnson, who he had known since childhood, was naturally distraught. The loss of his friend hit him hard. I had to abandon the search after 5 days, and he became very angry. At this point, he must have felt the only thing to do was continue the search himself. He was seen leaving the city the same day with a rifle and standard issue kit. 3 days later, around dusk, a lookout spotted a figure walking out of the thick fog that had come down during the day. He had returned, but something was different. His eyes were vacant, he had pale skin, he had none of the kit he left with, apart from the ripped and blood-stained fatigues, whose blood remained a mystery, as he had no visible injuries and wouldn't speak. He just followed me, like a small child. He refused food and water. I say refused. It was as if it was foreign to him, like he had forgotten what to do with it. Over the next 24 hours, he did strange things. He broke every mirror in the medical area he was kept in, and drew all the curtains, preferring to sit in the dark. I insisted 2 men watch over him. A couple of days later, I woke to one of my men banging on my door around 5 a.m. "Sir, there's been an incident," he said. I arrived to the medical area around 5:15 a.m. A crowd had gathered around the house. That was our makeshift medical area, all staring at the blood still dripping from a blown-out main window. I walked through the recently broken door. Inside, it looked as though someone redecorated using machine guns and body parts. There had been a fight. Bullet casings littered the floor, as did the remains of my men. He was nowhere to be found. Had he escaped the fight? Was he taken away? All I know for sure is, the day after he disappeared, so did the diaries and the fog. Then one morning, after no patrol finding a diary for just over 2 weeks, I was presented with one found on patrol that morning. I could tell from the patrolman's expression before I even opened it, and there it was, smeared in black ink on the inside cover. I quickly flicked to the back. The last page was October 15th. Today is October 14th. Charles. And says credit to Liam D. That was really good. I have goosebumps. Damn. There were a couple of spelling mistakes and I had to stop and reread because literally parts that just didn't make sense. But in the comments I had read a little bit and they say that it's very Death Note. That was very Death Note. But I liked it. I liked the fact that it was a short letter. It had a lot going on there. Just the fact, I don't know, it was very well written, even though there are spelling mistakes and just parts that don't make sense and I had to fiddle with it, just change a word or add in a word. But yeah, that's got me all goosebumpy. And I hope you enjoyed it too. Also, I have no idea if that is the Dear David that was expected, but it was a Dear David. So let's move on to what we're going to be reading next week and give you all a big old choice. So the 3 stories that you have a choice of for next week are Chemical, which has an estimated reading time of 5 minutes, Paranoia, which has an estimated reading time of 3 minutes, and The Painting, which has an estimated reading time of 7 minutes. Now, once again, as always, if you do have anything that you would like me to read, we can put it on a list and figure out to read it, the following week or something like that. If you think there is anything that I could do to enhance the experience, make this a little bit better, let me know. We'll make do and make it happen. I will be making a couple of more videos in the next couple of days, It is just trying to figure out with work and all of that time where I can sit down and record and make things and edit and try to be funny. But I do hope that you enjoyed this today. Tell me what you thought of Dear David, because that is the first one, it's properly goosebump to me. For some reason, the McDonald's one, the very first one that I did, gave me them jittery goosebumps. But yeah, this one, I don't know. It was short to the point, and it had me all ooh, ooh. So anyway, thank you for watching. I will talk to you all soon. Don't get lost. Wash your hands, and I'll talk to you then. Slán.